Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So today we're gonna keep talking about this Yella Beezy situation, man, because it looks like Yella Beezy is in for a world of hurt if these accusations or charges prove to be true. Because Yella Beezy has been arrested in Dallas for the murder for hire plot of none other than Mo3. Now, this has been a rumor for a long time on the backstage of hip hop. A lot of people believe that Yella Beezy had something to do with the situation, but nothing ever came out that was true or that could be proven or that was official. But today we've got an official report. We've got a report from the local news there in Dallas that we're going to talk about, and also most of the news publications have picked this story up, man. They're all starting to talk about it, and they're starting to throw the names out there about the shooters or the alleged shooters in the case. What's weird about this is the fact that it took 5 years to come to this conclusion, to put Yella Beezy's name in this situation. And I think, man, somebody got to be talking, man. And I hate to go there, and maybe it was just good investigative work. Maybe it was just good police work. But man, 9 times out of 10, for them to not have anything, and there were signs that they were always watching Yella Beezy with these stop arrests that he kept getting and stuff like that, and then 5 years later to come and grab Yella Beezy, I think somebody might be telling. And when it comes to these two shooters, or the alleged shooters, I should say, Devin Brown and Kewon White, I wouldn't put anything past them. Now, I'm not for sure of that, and I'm not alluding to that at all. But man, anything is a possibility in this situation right now. It could be somebody we don't even know involved in this situation. It could be a middleman who was allegedly supposed to be passing the money back and forth who got caught up. Whoever they got leverage over, that's the person who probably might be turning on Yella Beezy or putting them out there. Now, I'm hoping Yella Beezy ain't have nothing to do with this, but I'm going to keep it funky. It does not look good for Yella Beezy right now. So let's check out this news report. All right, so let's check out this news story about Yella Beezy getting arrested in Dallas County yesterday, man. This makes it official, like I said, man. And listen to what they say during this news broadcast. They basically put it out there what everybody's been speculating about Yella Beezy in this situation. So let's go.
Breaking news stories tonight, starting with an update on a rapper gunned down on a highway 5 years ago. Dallas police now say Yella Beezy hired a hitman to kill his one-time friend turned rival, Mo3.
Now, I gotta say this. Everybody was already speculating that, and it looked like that paperwork is proven to be true. Now, like I went back and I went into the Dallas County inmate search, and then I looked up Yella Beezy and I found him, and he was listed there, but they didn't have the charges listed. Now, with the official news sources actually reporting this, now you know it's official that Yella Beezy was locked up for the murder for hire of Mo3. Now, they just came and got him 5 years later. Think about that, man. 5 years later, they came and got him. I think Kewon White or somebody else, what's the other guy? Devin Brown, I believe his name is. One of those guys might be, making a deal for themselves. You don't know. And I'm not saying that for a fact. I don't know that for a fact. But for them to wait 5 years to come get Yella Beezy, even though he's had his run-ins and they've been on his bumper, they've been pulling him over nonstop for this and that, trying to catch him up with something small, trying to lead to something big, the whole routine, right? Those should have been signs anyway for him to get up out of the country, But to be real, this looks like a situation where somebody is providing more information or put the pieces together for this puzzle in order for them to indict Yella Beezy. But man, let's continue.
Sullivan is live at the county jail. These are well-known rappers in the Dallas hip-hop scene.
Chris, Yella Beezy's top single, It Put It On Me, it peaked at 56 on the Billboard Hot 100. Now, he's in the Dallas County Justice Complex behind me on a capital murder charge, accused of hiring a hitman to kill a fellow rapper. This all happened back in 2020.
That's wild, man. To think that, man, Yella Beezy's fall from grace was so big. Like, when Yella Beezy, his single was popping, he was one of the biggest names out there in rap. Like, everybody was interested in his story. He was coming from Dallas, which was different. Dallas is an area that's had a lot of big people come from Dallas, but nobody really gave the Dallas experience, and they never really had their shot at a movement like Houston had a movement. There was a time period where Houston was just running through the charts, you know? You had your Paul Walls, your Chameleonaires or whatever. And at that time, Dallas was still kind of, you know, finding themselves, and they were doing their thing with like your Twisted Blacks, and they had like different groups who were kind of more on the chopped and screwed level of things. But to have a mainstream rapper with mainstream success and a mainstream top 100 hit, you know, that's a different thing. That's a whole different playing ground. And Yella Beezy was doing that.
And just before noon, in the middle of Interstate 35, just south of the Dallas Zoo, Dallas police arrested a 22-year-old and charged him with murder. Initially, that 22-year-old's in federal prison, convicted of gun charges. But now, 5 years later, they say he was the trigger man. Police say Yella Beezy.
Okay, so they saying that the guy that they arrested, I believe his name was Kewon White. And Kewon White, like I said earlier, we're going to talk about him some more in another video and even delve into a little bit of his backstory, because we've talked about it in the past, but it might be time for a refresher, because a lot of the details coming to light are pointing towards, man, somebody's cooperating. Somebody is giving information. It might not be any of these names that are listed. It might not be Yella Beezy. Obviously, it's not Yella Beezy because he's the one who has everything to lose in this situation. But then you have Kewon White, and you have the other guy who was involved and got locked up behind this. And man, it ain't looking good for Yella Beezy right now. But let's continue.
Whose hot song That's On, top song That's On Me, hired that 22-year-old and promised him cash for killing Mo3. A grand jury handed up an indictment this week and booked Marquise Conway tonight. The killing of Melvin Noble, known as Mo3, led to an outpouring of grief from his fans. Dozens held a memorial outside Dallas City Hall that week. He once was friends with the man now accused of hiring someone to murder him.
Why does it always happen like that? Why is always they start off friends in the rap game and then it leads to somebody losing their life, man? Even from the gate, from the time that hip hop first started, a lot of the situations where somebody lost their life, it was because a friendship started and then it split apart, man. The biggest, of course, is Biggie and Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Like, Biggie was literally sleeping on Tupac's couch when Tupac was a movie star / rapper, and then Biggie became big on his own. It's wild how these situations turn from friendship to enemies. So, man, you definitely got to watch who you got close to you.
Killing has long been suspected to be the result of a rap feud. We reached out to Yella Beezy's legal team tonight and have not heard back. We're waiting to hear back on a bond amount for him as well. We'll bring you updates tomorrow on Daybreak.
Now, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that Yella Beezy is going to get a bond? That would be wild. They said they're waiting, and as of now, his bond amount was set for 0. Now, that might change throughout the day because he's probably going to go in and see the judge. They're probably going to set a bond amount. It's probably going to be crazy because of the charges, murder for hire, and he's not actually being accused of being the shooter, but being accused of the person who put this whole thing in motion. So they put you kind of like at a boss level. So you usually face the toughest charges in that situation, even sometimes outside of the shooter, especially if the shooter is cooperating. Now, we don't know if he's cooperating or not, but this don't look good for Yella Beezy, I'll tell you that much.
Chris.
All right, thank you, Cole. You know, we've been following Yella Beezy's career, and this isn't his first run-in with the law. Go to WFAA.com.
Now, Yella Beezy has been in jail a lot. He's been locked up for a little petty pullover stop, find this on him. But he's beat those charges most times. And it was obvious for him, or at least for us as fans and stuff, I knew from the gate when I was reporting or blogging on it that, hey, man, they keep pulling him over for all this little stuff. They're on his heels. They want something big on him. They're looking for something to use leverage against him. And hopefully obviously he caught the signs too, because you notice he faded to the back a little bit, even though he was still popping in the Texas. You know, Texas got its own thing, man. If you're big in Texas, you usually could go throughout Texas, Louisiana, parts of Mississippi, you know what I'm saying? And then even kind of towards the Southwest and be good. And a lot of people like your Slim Thugs and cats like that, they're good in Texas. You know, they just pick up and say, hey, I want to do a show here, there, and people are going to show up because it's kind of a loyalty thing in Texas as far as their artists that make it. It's something that used to be in other regions that doesn't exist like that anymore. Maybe Louisiana still has that, and maybe Atlanta still has that. Even with their mainstream, they still have that. But other places is that's kind of that regional love like that, and being able to just move throughout your region or your state like that isn't what it used to be for some people. You know what I mean? Because people have gravitated more to the mainstream. But for Yella Beezy, man, it seemed like he was in the cut chilling, and now these charges he's been hit with, and he's been arrested. He's gonna have a fight on his hands, man. So we're gonna see, man. All right, so y'all tell me what y'all think about that news report, man. Do you think that this is further proof that Yella Beezy is everything but cooked, or that he everything including being cooked? Or is it a situation where you think that, Yella Beezy's name might be thrown out there as the front man or the person behind this, but this might just be a way to take down Yella Beezy? I mean, at this point, those type of accusations, and that's usually, those conspiracies, I should say, are usually put out there for people who are at the top of their game. You know what I mean? That they're trying to bring them down. But right now, Yella Beezy is kind of at a chill moment in his career. He's not at the top of the top, but there's people who have worse careers. Like, he can still probably book shows locally and things, like I said, throughout Texas or whatnot. But man, do you think that, man, Yella Beezy is cooked and it's over for him? Or do you think that one of these guys might be talking that's one of the alleged shooters? They're still on trial or whatnot. And what do you think about this Kewon White dude and all this stuff that they got going about him, man? And we might talk about that later in another video. But with that, do me a favor. Make sure you drop whatever you're thinking in the comment section, and make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.